Hey guys, welcome to the Technaesthetic Podcast. My name's Eric. This is Randy, and here we are. This is episode 1. So this is a big deal. This is a big deal for us.
Big deal, man.
We've been talking about it for how long?
A long time, man. Yeah, we've been having conversations now for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I feel like every single time we go off the rails, we're like, I bet people would listen to this.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we're just gonna try it and see.
Yeah.
If they,
YOLO, we're gonna see. We're gonna do it. We're gonna just record it. We had a couple topics for you today that we're interested in talking about. Steam Deck. Steam Deck's the big one. We've been talking about it for a while offline, but figured let's talk about it here. And then also we're gonna talk about Google Pixel. We're gonna ramble a little bit. We kind of get off on a tangent. We're gonna try and limit that a little bit. But we'll see.
We'll try.
We'll try. We're pretty good at going off on our little tangents. But we're going to stick to tech. Just so you know what Technaesthetic Podcast is all about, we're going to talk about everything tech related. It could be hardware. It could be software. It could be game consoles. We're big gamers also. We play a lot of games, both console, PC, everything. And yeah, we're both big tech enthusiasts, wouldn't you say?
I would agree with that completely.
Yeah.
I mean, we got lost in a tech talk for about 20 minutes before we started this.
Yeah, I know. Whoops. Yeah, we should have been recording.
It happens.
No, it's crazy. We both do everything tech. We're big everything consumer electronics, software, hardware. We run our own stuff, servers. We got all the consoles. We play a lot of video games. We both have top of the line gaming PCs. We build PCs all the time. So we know a thing or two about tech. And speaking of tech, I think we ought to roll straight into the big tech topic for today, which is going to be the Steam Deck.
Yeah, dude, I agree with that.
So Steam Deck, we talked about it before. We both got pre-orders. Basically, well, it's a $5 commitment, $5 down, so you can still back out. You know what I'm saying? But we both committed. When you first saw the Steam Deck, what did you think about it?
So honestly, at first I was a little shocked. Okay, so I received a link to the Steam Deck, and it was just SteamDeck.com. It wasn't familiar with Valve or Steam Powered or anything. So at first I thought it was just a third party making it, but then I went a little bit farther and saw it was Valve. So I was kind of intrigued, kind of interested in it. But it came down to, do I have a purpose for this? Right?
Yeah.
The question was already asked, am I going to get it? And of course the answer was yes.
100%.
But then I had to find use cases for that later on.
Yeah, 100%. I wanted to get it. It looks cool, right?
Yeah.
I think that we both have Nintendo Switches, right? So it's
We do, yeah.
I know for the longest time I was like, this form factor is actually kind of sick. I even like the whole
perfect.
dock thing. I love that, right? But I'm always thinking about in the back of my head, I wish I could run more on this, emulators and everything. And the Steam Deck, and it was funny because when the Steam Deck was announced, it was right after Nintendo was they announced the OLED edition.
The OLED Switch, yeah.
Which was hilarious because it's everybody on Twitter, online, on Reddit, they were kind of a little bit down about it because it's no spec increase, just an OLED screen, and there you go. Same Joy-Cons, everything. Same Joy-Cons that drift, everything. So I
mean, every controller has some form of drift, right?
Yeah, it's true. But the Switch gets a lot of hate on it for Joy-Con drift. But it's just funny because then the Steam Deck comes out and it's hey, you remember that Pro Nintendo Switch Pro that you wanted but didn't get? Check this out.
There it is. Yeah, and it's funny too, right? Because I don't know how many of you guys would remember, but the very first NVIDIA Shield was a handheld, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So which I actually still have upstairs. I refuse to get rid of it just because it's such a monstrosity.
Nice.
But to that point, people have been trying, or I should say companies have been trying to bring the PC gaming experience to a handheld portable device for quite some time now. I don't have the exact date, but I think the first Shield came out probably sometime 2012, 2013, maybe around there, give or take. And, that was an absolute failure for all intents and purposes. It didn't sell well.
Right.
NVIDIA kind of had to go back to the drawing board, and they basically just made an Android tablet for the second rendition. So, I feel like handheld gaming has been a long time coming, and it's really nice to see that a company as established as Valve is taking up the reins and kind of leading the charge on that, because they've had their trials and tribulations with things like the everyone's favorite Steam controller, which obviously didn't work out that well, but they still took that risk, right? They still had that development mindset behind them, and they have all the scars and all the knowledge that they learned from making that controller. So now, they took that knowledge and they applied it to, let's say, what came next, probably the Index, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
So then you have the Valve Index controllers, which, in my opinion, and the opinion of many, are the definitive VR controllers.
Yeah, I got some right here. Let me pull.
So
I've been playing my my Index. Actually, I just hooked it back up. So
Dude.
So the Index is definitely a better hardware product than the Steam controller. Like I never owned one, but my brother Chad, he brought one over, and it just felt like a light. It was super light. It was kind of like plasticky. It just didn't feel
feels
good.
so hollow.
It did not.
And for anyone out there who may be interested in getting one, like clockwork, every Black Friday they're available on Steam for like $1 or $2. That's not like it being funny or an exaggeration. Yeah. It's literally $1 or $2.
It's honestly pretty bad, but get it? Yeah. Like people because there's some people that love it, right?
Yeah.
But
there are people who love it because, from my understanding, granted, I didn't like it. I'm an Xbox controller fanboy, just because I feel like I
like the layout.
I love the layout.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I grew up with, and I have larger hands, so like the dual analogs being next to each other on PlayStation don't really suit me as well as the Xbox ones.
Same,
But to your point, Eric, there are people who absolutely adore it, and those people who adore it are people who play a lot of like cursor dominant games because that touchpad apparently really excels with that.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is you're playing PC games, so the Steam Deck, you're going to be playing PC games. A lot of games designed like the whole point is you can play a game that's keyboard mouse centric on the Steam Deck. It has a touch screen, so you can do a touch keyboard, whatever. It has the touchpads, which are probably the best touchpads you can get in that sort of form factor. Like
I agree with that.
Like the touch sensor on the Index controllers is pretty great. I think it's pretty good, and this, I haven't used a Steam controller in some time, so I can't tell you like how much it's evolved, but I think it's better than it was in the Steam controller now. So I think that they've kind of refined their touch input. I don't know if we're reaching like Apple levels of like amazing trackpad, but
I mean, no company has ever even come close.
No, in my opinion.
In my opinion as well too, and I mean that trackpad has been pretty much out there now for like 10 plus years. Like people could have copied it if they wanted to, and no one has.
I'm still shocked that even Microsoft in their Surface laptops, not to go off on a tangent, but even then I felt like they didn't even come close. So we're really interested to see to touch these trackpads on the Steam Deck. Let me pull up the Steam Deck's website just to have something to look at while we talk about this. But
can you also pull up for our viewers who are actually watching the podcast a picture of the first NVIDIA Shield just for comparison, so we can kind of see how far we've come.
100%. So let's pull up the browser. So this is the one you're talking about, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so check this bad boy out, right?
Yeah.
So the Shield, interesting thing, right? So it ran Android. It was an ARM-based device, so you could install Play Store apps. The problem, I mean, anything that ran natively on it, first off, Android at the time, there wasn't a lot of games that really supported controller input that well.
No.
And the ones that did, like, had the on-screen stuff, right? So it had, I think the Shield had software where you could kind of make virtual buttons, right?
Yeah, the Shield had software where you could assign virtual buttons, kind of like those phones that have the left and right triggers do now, like the ROG phone and like phones of that nature. Basically, every button worked that way.
But like, what was the main way to play games on this thing, like PC games, right? Because you could do it, right? Could you? Was there a streaming way to do it? Or?
Yeah. So essentially, the first Shield kind of launched alongside when the GeForce Experience first came out, and they had that remote play streaming feature. For those of you who have a NVIDIA graphics card, you may know that you could stream your games through your GeForce Experience in your task tray.
Right.
So like they kind of made a push, right, that you would. buy an NVIDIA graphics card, and then as an add-on, or even standalone. But I mean, let's be real. They're trying to get you to buy as many accessories as possible, and of course, only work with NVIDIA graphics cards. You could buy this NVIDIA Shield and then stream your PC games from your computer to the NVIDIA Shield.
Right.
So that was the main draw of it. And of course, I bought one because it was new tech.
It's a new shiny tech.
Yeah.
That's the Steam Deck in a nutshell, though.
Yeah. The battery lasted maybe all of an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It was bulky. It ran hot. There was a big fan vent on the back.
Yeah.
I don't know if Eric can pull the picture of the back, but it was chunky. It was basically when NVIDIA first made their first mobile Tegra processor. So they wanted to also showcase that off. So it was kind of, like a double-edged sword for NVIDIA, in my opinion, because they launched Remote Play and they launched a mobile processor at the same time. And then they needed a product to kind of showcase them both off. And that was the first Shield. And, it kind of had a lot of value to it because it was something that gave PC gamers the ability to play somewhere other than their desk. And it was a great idea with poor execution. So
so how was the experience back then? Like, because obviously
awful.
Streaming has evolved now, right? Like we have better Wi-Fi standards now and everything now. So you can do it a lot better. So that was my buddy Josh, right? He came off in our chat and he was like, "You don't need this. You don't need the Steam Deck. You could just stream your games." And that's kind of true, because that's what I do right now. Like I have my MacBook Pro and I set it up, and
I do the same on my iPad.
I use because do you use Steam or do you use like NVIDIA? Like how do you stream to your iPad? Or do you just xCloud?
So I've been a console plebe.
Yeah.
So if I'm home, I'll stream my Xbox, but if I'm out, I'll use xCloud.
Yep.
For me, it's just been the most reliable.
So you use xCloud, but so I'm using just Steam's in-home streaming software, and it works actually really well. There's other ways to do it.
Can
too.
Steam do 4K now or no?
Yeah. You know what? I can't tell you. I have to check. I think it can. But I could just pull up Steam. Hold on. I'm looking at the Steam remote play settings right now. See if I can get you that info. Resolution. Wow. I mean, it says 8K on it.
For streaming?
Oh, that's remote play. Is that the same thing? Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says 8K on it.
No, it doesn't.
It says limit. Okay, it says limit it, and then you can set a limit, and 8K is on.
Steam remote play 8K.
It says 8K.
Yeah, okay. Steam can now stream games in 8K resolution as of March 22nd, 2021.
Yeah, there you go, dude.
All right. Well,
like it would be a good experience.
Weird flex, but okay.
Okay. I don't know, but it's actually pretty good. So I've done like streams, I've hooked it up to the TV and I've done it that way. If you have shoddy Wi-Fi, it's kind of bad.
Okay.
So I've definitely experienced that. And drops and stuff. So it's not ideal, right? So when the Steam Deck comes in and it's like, yo, you can run a game native, right? I'm like, that's the definitive way to play a game. Like, okay, like, because I will get into a debate with you if you'd allow me to about cloud gaming, because like I'm really latency sensitive.
Oh, so am I, dude. So am I.
So being able to run a game native on device is always going to be the preferred, right?
No, I get that. And, while we're on the topic, I do want to touch on just a few specs of the Steam Deck that I think were the right choice. I think targeting 720p resolution for that screen size is a brilliant move.
Yeah, 100%.
Because when it comes down to running things natively, you're going to really benefit from that 720p resolution.
Well, that was the thing. So they came out. Valve was like, "Hey, we wanted you to play any modern game," and they said the bar was 30 FPS. And games would run obviously better than that, but because of battery life and stuff, like you can frame limit to 30. Get that extra battery life and then be able to play it with moderate specs, graphic settings and everything like that. So I think that was the right target for a mobile device that's supposedly going to be able to play your modern games, like your Witcher and your latest games that came out. Like theoretically, you could play like give me a game, dude, like Cyberpunk. I don't know. Halo Infinite, dude, like the PC version. Like you could play anything on it theoretically, right?
Yeah.
So pretty cool. I mean, pretty cool.
I think when you're looking at terms of performance, like just seeing what processor the Steam Deck has and what compute it has, you're probably looking at the power of the original Xbox One.
Yeah, because they talked about the whatever flops, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the processor specs now.
Yeah, it's like 1.6.
Yeah, teraflops.
Give or take. And the original PS4 was like 1.8, and I think the original Xbox was like 1.3.
That's actually pretty impressive for... Yeah. We live in an era where we can get portable gaming at that level. That's pretty good.
Right, and like when you think back, like when did the Xbox One come out? Like 2013?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like something like that. So like literally in like a generation's time, we've basically, not only are capable of doing it, but we've also got the power consumption down to a level where we can actually run it off battery for an hour or two.
Right. So let's talk about some hot takes, dude. So, obviously we both committed to Steam Deck because we think it's a cool thing. Like, how do you intend to use the Steam Deck? Because we have everything, right? Because we have PCs, right? This is what the argument against it was like, you already have a gaming PC, you could stream your games. Like, are you going to use this in any meaningful way? Like, what's the point? And so I know I have my reasons for buying it. I want to hear your reasons.
Sure. So first off, it's new, right? So that's reason enough for me
for us.
But I would say that, as someone who is currently dating a girl and we live in separate places,
okay.
Obviously, when I'm at her house, we've been together a while. Right. We're at that point where like there are times where like we just like relax on the couch and just enjoy each other's company together. So like
right.
Being able to play my video games at her house is very lucrative to me, and finding a good system that will do that is difficult. So 100%. Like you, I got the same argument of. Yeah, but you could just stream games to your iPad, which is true, right? And like in some scenarios, that's a very compelling argument because bag space is also valuable. So like if I already take my iPad everywhere, then I'm now bringing two devices, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So there's an issue there. But for me, it's probably the same issue you have is just running things natively versus streaming them is a world of difference.
Yeah, 100%.
It's an absolute world of difference. And then this is going to probably transition into a topic we're going to touch on a little bit later, but it also comes down to cost, right? So like if you look at how much the Steam Deck costs, it's great value, man. Like it's like,
it's kind of interesting because there's two sides to this, dude. So if you're thinking about it in the bubble of PC, right?
Yeah,
obviously
in the bubble of PC.
If you're thinking about the bubble of PC, you're getting a system capable of running your entire Steam library theoretically, okay, in a price point that's actually very competitive. Like, okay, let's look at the prices. So, what is it? It starts at like what, $399 or something?
I think it starts at $399, but you also get the not so good screen.
Yeah, 100%. So, it's the same.
Okay. The glass panel. It's the same screen.
They're probably all not so good, but
yeah. The screen is probably going to be a weak point on this.
But we'll talk about it. So prices, right? So $399. That's a very, very, like, even Gabe was like, "Yo, this is painful. This is painful." And I kind of agree. Like what you're getting for $399 is kind of insane. Like just the storage being only 64 gig, you're not going to install a half of Call of Duty on this. You know what I mean? But it's an entry point, right? Comes with a carrying case. Okay, cool. But here's where you're really going to be spending is the $529 and $649. I know we both reserved the $649,
right?
But even if you think about it from a PC perspective, $649 is still very, I think that's still, pretty cost. It's a good value still. You're getting a 512 gig NVMe SSD. You're getting the best of the Steam Deck, right? Because you're getting the glass screen or whatever. $649, still a pretty good price, right?
Great price.
Like, people are going to look at it. I know some people that aren't into PC, right? They might look at that and think it's excessive. They might go for the $529, $399, because if it depends on if, like, what we're talking about here, like in the PC bubble, it's a good price.
Great price.
If you compare it to consoles, this is a premium option, right? So if you're an Xbox gamer, you might look at this and go, well, I could get an Xbox, a Series. How much is a Series X?
Series X is $499.
$499. So
$500.
if you're a console gamer, you might look at this and be like, well, I can get a Series X. You know what I mean? If you're, you might think I can get an iPad or something. I think that tablets are a good argument against this, because you could get an iPad.
Tablets are a great argument against this.
Because you can get fully, like, maybe not a fully loaded iPad. You could get a pretty good iPad. You could get a controller.
You can get the base iPad.
Yeah.
Which is still the most powerful tablet out there, sans the Pros, sans the M1 Pros, for $329.
Yeah.
And buy a controller for $50.
Yeah. But that requires you have a PC, right?
That requires you have a PC to stream from, an Xbox, or
good Wi-Fi.
Or
like Game Pass or something.
I was going to say, or if latency is not an issue for you and you don't plan on playing, input sensitive games. Let's call them input sensitive games.
Right.
You can buy a Game Pass Ultimate sub for $14.99, and you have a pretty sizable library on an iPad with a controller.
And it's an excellent value also. I'd say Game Pass is pretty great value.
Yes, it is.
If you want games to play, like,
I think Steam Deck is a great platform. Probably, in my opinion, one of the best platforms. If mobility is your number one pro for wanting to game, or for wanting to invest in a gaming platform, right? So
that's the advantage then. It's mobility. So
100%.
You can grab and go with it. Although technically, I'm going to put like mobility in quotes, because this thing's a chonker, dude. Like, have you seen this chonker, dude? Like, okay,
it's thick. It's
let me
wide.
see if I can find
it's a wide boy.
It looks like, you might be thinking if you've had a Nintendo Switch, you might be thinking, okay, and then think like maybe this is the same. No, dude. This is not the same form factor. This thing is like, it's like the Game Gear to your Game Boy, dude. This is like thick.
I like that analogy, Game Gear to Game Boy, because when I was younger, we were a Nintendo house, because my father was a huge Nintendo fan. So like Sega Genesis and Game Gear were not allowed in the house, but his friend at the time, Mark, had a Game Gear, and I remember going over there and picking that thing up with the 6 AA's in it as like a 3-year-old. And I was like, this feels like a cinder block. This is insane. This is uncomfortable.
And the battery life on a Game Gear was like garbage.
Miserable, man.
So, that's another thing. We don't know what the battery life is going to be on this sucker. Because like, as far as, what they say on their website, hold on, let me go to tech specs and pull this up once again.
I don't know about you, man. I don't know if it's the way I use technology or the way, batteries are rated, but I can tell you right now, I will never hit that 8-hour mark. It'll never happen.
Oh, no, 100%. So it says 2 to 8 hours of gameplay. Okay, 40 watt hour battery, whatever. Okay,
right.
That is, I believe them. I believe them on that. I think that you're probably going to be closer to 2 rather than 8. I think so too. I'm going to estimate maybe like 4-5 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
Depending on the game. Like, okay, you can do some cool stuff. Like, you could frame rate cap to 30, and then you'd get a lot more time out of it. But us, we want to experience the 60 FPS. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
And so, but you're still going to save a little bit. So, like, say you're running uncapped frame rate, 720p. I bet you a lot of games will go over 60. They'd probably go into like 90s, whatever. But you're capping it, right?
I'm sure they would.
So you're going to frame cap to 60. And because you're only at 60 hertz anyway on the display, your system's not going to be 100% load, right?
To my knowledge, unfortunately, this screen doesn't have any sort of VRR though, right?
No, it doesn't. So you're gonna be running VSync 60 FPS cap. And yeah, because you'll probably run VSync on this thing. I think so.
I pulled it up just because I was curious because we brought up the iPad for a little bit, but
yeah,
man, it stinks that we couldn't get an M1 in here.
Yeah, so because it's funny because
I just pulled up some side by sides, and the M1 absolutely annihilates the processor in the Steam Deck.
So here's the thing about the Steam Deck, guy. We live in a world now where we have the M1. Okay, and these iPads that Apple are putting out. What's the cheapest iPad that you can get with an M1? Is it
that would be the 11 Pro 128?
Okay, yeah, but that's going to be pricey. It's going to be pricey, but you can get an M1 in the MacBook Airs and stuff and everything.
An 11 Pro 128 cheapest variant is $799. It's actually not that bad.
That's not that bad. So I just want to say that Apple's putting out these mobile devices. Okay, they could be MacBooks. Okay, MacBook Air, MacBook Pro. They're putting out iPads. And honestly, their iPhones are kind of bleeding edge when it comes to the battery life stuff, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Battery life in these mobile devices that they're putting out is just on another level. And then you have Valve putting out the Steam Deck, and it's running an x86-based processor, which is already more power inefficient compared to ARM, which is what Apple's running, which is what all of our phones run. Every mobile device made nowadays is basically an ARM device. But because you want compatibility with Windows, with Microsoft, Steam-based games, right?
Yeah.
You want to be able to play PC games. All desktops, for the most part, okay, all the ones that people are buying, x86-based machines. Okay, Microsoft, if you're running Windows, you're running an x86 machine, not as power efficient. Okay, and that's why when we talk about battery life in the Steam Deck, I'm concerned because for years,
for real.
Have you ever owned a netbook?
No.
Do you remember when netbooks were coming?
I do.
Out? They were kind of oh, look at this baby.
I actually worked at Best Buy when netbooks were a thing.
Yeah, netbooks sucked. Okay, they were terrible. We are just now at the point, I'd say this is a turning point within the past couple years, where we're getting netbook-sized computers that actually have respectable performance. I wouldn't say we have respectable battery life yet in those sort of x86 devices. I could be wrong.
I don't think we do.
I don't think we do.
I mean, we have laptops that are pushing the... I forget what the standard is called.
Yeah.
But essentially, you can't bring a single cell battery, single cell being defined as the battery could have multiple cells, but the entire contents of one concealed battery cannot be greater than 99 watt hours.
Right.
So that's why you see that's essentially why you don't see a laptop with a ridiculous battery in it, because you can no longer bring it on a plane. And if you can no longer bring it on a plane, it's not really considered portable at that point.
It wouldn't be. Nobody would buy
it. And the old MacBooks, like the MacBook 16 that had the i9 in it and stuff,
right?
That was pushing 99 watt hours for that reason. It
was literally the cap.
Yeah.
And that thing was pretty good, but
it was good.
But even then,
it's not like M1.
No, M1's on another level. Okay.
It's funny that you phrase that the way you did, because I feel like there'll be a few years in the future when more companies figure out how to make ARM basically the go-to.
Yeah.
Because it's going to happen, right? It's going to happen. You're going to see the M1X or the M2 come out this year.
Yeah.
And this
is really this is a Steam Deck discussion, but the M1 is kind of a part of this mobile processing sort of discussion, right?
Yeah.
They are putting out the performance per watt in the M1 chip that Apple's putting out. It's just on another level that you can play the graphics chip in it is actually kind of respectable. I don't know what the teraflops are.
2.6.
2.6?
Yeah.
Okay, so they already got Steam Deck on lock, right? They already beat them. Okay, the only problem is you don't have compatibility. Now, now the thing is, if Microsoft did something much like Apple did with Rosetta 2, and they made that compatibility layer where they develop that translation.
What's up, the Surface Pro X?
Yeah, I think but it was bad. People said it was terrible. You had a huge performance deficit. Yeah. But the crazy thing about Rosetta 2 with what Apple is doing is you get a performance increase. Yeah. Like you're going through this translation layer, but the M1 is so good and the translation layer so effective that I mean they have control of the hardware, right? So they've optimized their translation layer to work perfectly with their silicon.
And that's kind of what Google's doing there, right? That's
and we're getting ready. We're almost there.
That's kind of a good segue, dude.
We're 7 minutes
We're kind of walking right into it.
Let's touch on the Steam Deck for one last second. So sure. I'm going to pull up the website. So we're pretty happy, though, with the overall device. Like, from a hardware perspective, looking at this layout, like the buttons are kind of in a weird spot. Like I don't know if it's ergonomic. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think? Like,
it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's more ergonomic from like a grip. Like you have a grip, right?
I think what it ultimately comes down to is how heavy is this boy?
Okay, so I know it's heavy compared to like a Switch. I think it's like maybe twice as heavy as a Switch. Hold on, let me see. Size and weight. So 669 grams. How much is a Switch? Just like in grams.
So that's basically 1.5 pounds.
Okay. Okay. That's not too bad. How much is an iPad, like, for reference?
My iPad Pro 11 is a pound.
Okay. So it's heavier. But it's a device designed for two-handed use, so it's going to be
because it has grips, you'll get more purchase on it. You know what I mean? I feel like it might be easier to hold.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But like the design, though, it's pretty much good. I'd say the only thing that's probably going to be bad is the screen is probably not going to be that nice.
Yeah. The screen is definitely going to be a low point.
It's probably going to be like the resolution's not the problem.
No. Even great resolution.
Even though I wish it had VRR, like variable refresh rate, I wish it did. I wish it could go up to like 90 hertz. But like realistically for battery life, 60 is fine. But VRR would have been clutch. The refresh rate isn't even the problem. It's the display technology. So it's like it's not OLED. It's not like IPS or anything. It's just like a standard off the shelf LCD.
It's screen. Yeah.
It's a screen.
Displays an image.
You know what I mean? And is it going to be good? Like I've seen good LCDs. I've seen bad ones. But like when I was looking at it, and obviously this is a I don't know if this is a final unit that they're showing off to IGN, but like when I was just looking at the footage, the screen didn't look that great. Like,
no, it didn't.
You know, I don't know. Yeah. And obviously I'm seeing it through the lens of my YouTube and then their camera and then like whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables that go into play when you're looking at the screen and footage.
But even still, I feel like I'm not really thinking it's going to be great.
Yeah. No, kind of mirroring your sentiment on that.
But that's the only thing. Oh yeah, but I wanted to talk about why I think it's going to be cool for me. I love the idea. So I have I don't have it on me, but I have like this fascination with portables, right? So I bought like these Chinese little tiny emulator handhelds, right?
Well, we need to unpack that for a second. Why are you obsessed with that?
Well, I don't know. I love it. I love the idea of portable gaming. I just never do it. To me, emulators are awesome. I love the idea of like I have all these systems on this handheld. It's just like it's like a collection thing, I think. It's kind of why I built my arcade cabinet. It's like I can load it up with all this stuff, and it's kind of like this awesome celebration of gaming, right? Handhelds are kind of like that too. I think that it would be awesome for a emulator device, right? Because I can throw RetroArch on this thing, be able to play like all your retro games, like in
now. Can you do that? Can you do that with a operating system that it launches with?
I'm pretty sure because it's a Linux-based OS, right?
Yeah, but I don't know how locked down it is. So like,
is it?
I don't know.
I don't think it is, dude. I think that they're like, this is a PC. Like, you can do what you want with it.
Yeah, but you could do what you want is kind of a loose term, right? Like they may say you can run that by formatting the drive and installing what you want. You know,
dude, I bet you're going to have terminal access on this thing. You're going to be able to be like apt-get update apt-get install.
A bold claim.
I think you can. I bet you will be able to. I'll be like apt-get install RetroArch freaking, and then I'll have it on there.
I'm concerned, not really concerned, because like it's probably would be the better solution.
Yeah.
For like other people,
right.
That it just launches right into that new Steam Deck UI, which is kind of nice looking. Actually,
it looks great. I don't want to use Windows on this. I really don't want to use Windows.
Same here.
I think Proton,
just because the UI looks clean.
It looks so good. It's going to be seamless. It's going to be like a console experience almost, where you just poke a game and go in.
Yeah,
and like
that's
it's
huge.
just
That's
with
huge.
Steam Cloud support, it's going to be like as long as Proton supports the games you want to play, which is a big if. Like we don't know.
That's a big if. Yeah,
we don't know. Like there actually, that's kind of a lie because there is sort of a compatibility list online. You can see right now, are your games Proton supported? I'm sure that it's going to be expanded upon.
So let me ask you a question, and this is a question from ignorance. So if you can shed some light on it, that'd be awesome, because I'm sure there may be other people wondering it. How did Apple do it?
Do what?
So like you have an M1 Mac, right?
100%.
You could play any x86 game you want.
Theoretically, yeah.
Yeah. So why can't Proton work that way?
Yeah. Okay. So.
In my mind, it should even be easier because it's the same architecture.
The problem with the way Proton does it is Proton isn't worrying about translating x86 based, I guess I was going to say commands, but it's like x86 based whatever. Because Windows instruction set. It's the same instruction set across like all these platforms, right? Linux, everything. Sure. The difference is the kernel, the operating system. Okay. A lot of games have support, like they have this Windows, they're basically tied to Windows, right? You have games that are built with the registry, with like app data.
I would assume it probably has a lot to do with DirectX. But
DirectX is a big portion.
This is talking from ignorance, but like I assume a big thing is
that's actually a huge thing. That's
basically, as someone who uses Mac and PC, I've noticed that basically if a game has OpenGL support or OpenCL support, it's pretty much on Mac as well.
Yeah,
but if it's based using a DirectX API, forget it. It's never happening.
I don't think Mac doesn't really support OpenGL anymore.
No,
they're like Metal.
Not since Metal,
API.
But like this is just me going back and having to own.
No, but you're right. Yeah. It's DirectX is a big anchor point for games tied to Windows, and a lot of newer game developers and stuff are supporting stuff like Vulkan and other APIs, which is great. Fantastic.
No, Vulkan is agnostic, right?
It is, so it's all over the place. You can that's why you can play games. I think Doom Eternal and stuff.
Doom is a big supporter of Vulkan.
And a lot of games, like that's the thing about Proton is it can do some. I'm pretty sure it can do some. Don't quote me on it, but I think it does some of that DirectX stuff also. It's doing the API translation. I don't know what it's translating to. I'm gonna have to look.
If it is doing that, the overhead on that would be something to talk about, I think.
But it's definitely a thing. Yeah, I mean, is it adding latency? Am I getting performance loss? I'm sure you are a little bit, right? You would think.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it would be kind of interesting to see, like, if your favorite game is translated via Proton to play on the Steam Deck, what kind of performance deficit can you expect because of that?
I'll tell you one thing. I know I'm personally, and we're going to wrap up Steam Deck and move on to the next topic. Mm-hmm. But I just want to say, like, I'm personally very excited to do some testing. So I'm probably we're going to dual boot. We're going to have Proton. I'm going to do some performance testing under Proton, under Windows. And I'm actually super interested to see, like, I want to see some games that are running on the Switch run.
Oh, okay.
I want to see the difference between, like, even the Switch. Like, I'm not saying I'll buy The Witcher 3 or
I was going to say,
Eternal.
To that note, I would be really curious to see Witcher 3.
Yeah. I want to see from a performance perspective. I think Witcher 3 is obviously going to look better, right? It's going to look better on the Steam Deck. I want to see frame locked 30. Who lasts longer, Switch or Steam Deck? And then
battery,
battery, yeah. And obviously with a little bit of you're going to have to tweak the settings on the Steam version because you can actually you can actually adjust like your settings. But it'll be interesting to get visual parity between the two and then see who can last longer.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
Because you have the Switch, Tegra processor, ARM-based, and then you have x86 AMD chip in the Steam Deck, both running at, well, okay, one's 720p flat, and then one's 1280 by 800. But
the only thing to keep in mind when doing that is, I know for The Witcher, for example, they had to go ahead and redo a lot of the textures in a lower res.
So it's a completely different game.
Those textures don't exist on the PC version. So,
it'll still be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun, but just something to keep in mind that, generally speaking, if you have a game that you enjoy playing on the Switch and you get it on the Steam Deck, it'll just have that inherent advantage of having higher native textures. Yeah, that's all.
But yeah, just to wrap up Steam Deck, excited about it. We'll talk about it more as we learn more and as we think of stuff. I'm really interested. I kind of wanted to talk about, like, would I buy a laptop or a Steam Deck? Real quick, like, a lot of people will be asking that question. Like,
so it's funny you bring that up because my girlfriend Kelly just kind of reached out to me because she wants to play The Sims. Okay. That's it. She just wants to play Sims 4 on a computer so she can, either mod it or, she basically just wants a Sim deck.
Yeah, Sim deck.
So
Sim deck.
Yeah, right.
Play the Sims on this thing. Yeah.
But like, honestly, look at it. Like honestly, sit down and look at and try to find a laptop for under $700 that will run The Sims fine and actually, not be a piece of shit.
Dude, I don't think there is one, dude.
I don't think there is one either.
Because you've seen it all the time. Like, I've seen people that are big into The Sims, they'd be playing on their laptops. Yeah. And it is not. Like, it is not. Like, they don't buy... Because a lot of these people don't buy gaming laptops that are like, $1,200, $1,300. I think you could probably get a good laptop at, like, maybe $900. Yeah. Sacrificing some stuff, like maybe the screen, maybe the form factor is a little chunkier because, a lot of those laptops aren't the slimmest. But, like, you could probably do it for $900, but the Steam Deck beats it in price.
I agree. I agree with that question. Yep.
So...
Yeah, it kind of fills a niche that, like, I didn't realize the PC market was existing. Yeah. But to get a portable gaming device under $500 is kind of impossible.
Yeah, it is.
I see a lot of value in that for a lot of people. There's a lot of, like, road warriors out there who travel for a living. Yeah. And, truckers. I see truckers you've probably seen them pop up on like our battle stations a few times when they have like their big 18-wheelers and they pull up their laptop.
They got this rig.
Yeah. So like for them, like why wouldn't you just get a Steam Deck?
Honestly, yeah, because the Steam Deck with the performance it's going to have, and you'll be able to play all the latest games. Yeah. With
you can use an external mouse if you wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could dock it. You can do whatever you want. If you want a bigger screen, you could have it. You can. It's just such a flexible device, which I think is really honestly a big seller for me. Yeah. Like, I love to be able to one of the things that I like to do.
You like options.
I love options because, like, if I'm throwing a party, right? This is an example. A lot of times I'm playing something when I have people over, Jackbox Party Pack, and I'd love to be able to dock it, have it on the TV, and we're all playing it. Like, bam, just like that. Big screen. I don't have to, like, haul a PC over. I don't got to have my laptop open next to the fucking thing. Yeah. I just dock it. You know what I mean?
And to that point, I mean, how many times have you and I had, like, hour-long discussions of me trying to figure out how to get my computer to work properly on my television?
Yeah, dude, no joke. That's not even a joke. So that's the thing. Consoles are so much better of an experience regarding the ease of setup. But the Steam Deck does rival that, and I really respect that about it.
Same. Just in closing, I'm hyped for it. So expect more to come from us as
we're going to talk about it more. We probably won't be able to avoid it. This is it's a hype hardware product. We'll talk about it some more. We're going to move on to the next topic, which is going to be the Google Pixel. So interesting thing, Google's been putting out their own sort of variant of an Android phone for some time. Started with, I believe, the Nexus phones. Then they rolled into the Pixel phones, right? They have their own. It's almost Apple-y in the way they set up their phone, where it's kind of like the no bloat, except for Google stuff, and it's just like the best experience, software and hardware wise. Well, maybe not hardware wise, because you can buy like Samsung phones that are better. But anyway, basically the most seamless Android experience possible, right?
So just for someone who probably, may have used an iPhone their entire life or a Samsung phone and aren't really too familiar with the Pixel line of phones. So back in the day, Google's phones were the Nexus line. And essentially what the Nexus line was, it was Google's way of partnering with the manufacturer. So at this point in time, Google didn't make their own phones. So you would have like the LG Nexus or the Samsung Nexus.
Or the HTC.
Or the HTC Nexus, right? And they really focused on Android being open source at that point. These phones came with an unlocked bootloader. ASOP, which is Android Open Source Project, was a big seller of the Nexus phones, and tinkering, was basically their target market. Like if you wanted to make your own version, your own distribution of Android and run it, there was a huge community on XDA developer forums that essentially people would make their own custom ROMs like Unicorn and so on and so forth, basically custom, variants of Android, and then you could run it. Well, Google kind of realized that people didn't really want that. Like the amount of people who were interested in tinkering and loading up a different ROM on their phone was a very, very, very small market.
Right.
So in a turn in the complete opposite direction, which is not uncharacteristic of Google, they've made the Pixel line, which is more of a locked, kind of like a walled garden ecosystem almost.
Right.
That ties you into Google. It's hardware made in house. I should say designed in house, kind of like what Apple does. But it's inherently Google. And while Google Android exists on many different platforms, they all come with a layer on top of Android, like One UI for Samsung, HTC Sense for HTC phones, so on and so forth. But when you buy a Pixel phone,
that's like the what is that called? Not the skin, but the what is it called? Dang it! What is that called, dude? It's on the tip of my tongue because you can change it. That's it's been a minute since I had the last Android phone I had was the not to get off topic, but it was the Foldy Boy. So
Foldy Boy.
Yeah, I did Foldy Boy. So yeah, the go ahead on your sorry to interrupt. I broke your chain of thought, but basically
yes. So basically, just 40,000 foot view. The Pixel is Google's vision of what an Android experience should be.
Right.
And that's what they're trying to deliver. There's a lot to say, kind of bringing back our conversation full circle to why the M1 works as well as it does. It's because it's that marriage of hardware and software. And it seems like finally Google is saying, hey, maybe they did something right, maybe they had something here. Maybe if we make a processor designed specifically for our operating system, we're going to give the users a better experience both in performance and battery life. So I'm kind of excited to see where this takes me.
So we haven't even really said it. So like the whole thing about this is Google is designing their own SoC for this thing, right? It's like their own chip.
Yeah.
So first time ever. So they've been, what was in the last Pixel? Probably a Snapdragon or something, right?
Actually, the last Pixel, if memory serves me correctly, which was really interesting,
it
was basically a mid-range phone. It didn't have the highest end Snapdragon. It had like a lower, kind of like middle of the road Snapdragon processor.
Which everybody's using those. Like Samsung's using those.
Everyone's using those.
What is it? Exynos is another one. There's a couple different processors.
Yeah, so you'll only find Exynos in
certain regions, right?
Non-United States Samsung phones.
Okay.
Everywhere else, you're going to get a
Snapdragon.
a Snapdragon or Huawei makes their own processors now too, I think.
Yeah, so that's the interesting thing. So Google is coming out with their first ever, right? I mean, so they said that they've made image processors before, whatever, but that's for like their cameras.
So just to touch on that briefly, if you have a Pixel phone now or are curious about that, basically they've designed a co-processor in the Pixels in the Pixel phones that essentially handle all of the AI processing when you take a shot. So camera phones in your phone have like a very small sensor. So when you take a shot, like for example, night mode is a really good example of where Google's image processor comes into play. That's kind of something that processor exists to do. So rather than having the SoC run some code and do that, they've designed a chip that's specifically designed to run that level of code.
Right. So that's the thing. So Google's really actually done a great job on their image processors, right? We were very impressed with the Pixel line of phones. Actually, for the longest time, everyone would say the best camera phone you can really get is the Pixel line. They make
ironically enough, they were using the same sensor for like 3 years, and no one could tell because they just kept improving their
that's
image
pretty crazy.
SoC.
And that honestly, when it comes to mobile cameras, right? Like I got an iPhone was 12 Pro Max, great, probably best in class sensors. But when it comes to mobile, like it's really about your image processing.
Yep.
100% about your image processing. Like we're both camera guys. I'd say Randy more than me, right? He's got what's your main camera right now? Like you've handled quite a bit, but
yeah. So I'm shooting on an EOS R5 now.
Yeah.
But prior to this, I was on a Sony A9, A7R4, GFX 50R.
Exactly. I just got the A7 III. That's all I got. It's a great camera, but it's so much better than any kind of mobile. Anything like better than like even just the Alpha like 6500, 6000 like APS-C cameras, like they're gonna smash any sort of phone camera out of the water. Like no matter what you get above that.
And that's largely due to sensor size, right? So
it is.
When it comes to optics, a lot of what you're dealing with is just physics, right?
Yeah.
Larger sensor, better picture.
Yeah, exactly.
Less noise.
Yeah. So not to get into the let's go back to the actual processor but basically what we're saying is that Google did a really great job, and I'm sure that's both software and hardware wise with their image processing. But you could see the magic that Google did when they controlled both the software and the hardware. So it's exciting to see them pull an Apple and basically say, we're going to control the hardware and the software experience now. We're going to be able to optimize for our own chip and basically make something tailor-made to work under Android and make the software work tailor-made for the hardware that we're going to put in this phone. We're interested to see where does that lead basically. It could be actually
I think it's exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah, it could be really good. Part of the issue you have with an Android phone is something called wake locks, where apps don't go into deep sleep. If you're familiar with like iOS and stuff, it's actually called App Nap on iOS.
App Nap, I love that. They always do like great, right? I've always do like the cool names for shit that you can remember. You know what I mean? Like marketing.
You'll never forget it. Yeah,
marketing.
Yeah.
But it's like for Android, okay. So you're saying it has an issue going to sleep like the apps do, or
yeah. Okay. So like I don't know if you've ever owned an Android phone and somebody's like, man, this battery life's not that bad. It's actually pretty good. And then the next day you're like, it's noon and I have to plug my phone in. That's because
they're not going into standby at all. Like
some running app isn't going into AppNap, and that happens a lot on Android still to this day. And a lot of that kind of exists on the kernel level, in my opinion. So
how much battery life, and I don't really, I don't expect you to really know this, but like, obviously Android compensates for the issue by having a massive amount of RAM in their phones. Like you can get like 12 gigs of memory.
And a massive battery for that point.
Yeah, and they basically compensate for their software and their with good hardware. Right, they're compensating. Apple don't need it, so they don't put it in their phone. They don't put like as big chunky batteries. They don't put as much memory. Like people will look at the specs on an iPhone and go, "This is weak," but it's not weak. It's not weak.
Yeah,
it's optimized, bro.
It comes down to efficiencies.
So, how much battery life is if you're using a lot of apps? Obviously, if an app is running, it's using CPU cycles, things are happening. But if it's just kind of in the background, it's still in memory, right? It's not napped. It's still in memory. Is the memory usage just being high gonna eat battery, or is it like it's running, it's doing something, it's just kind of there ready? Is that really what's eating it? Like, I'm just curious because it's obviously you're getting less battery life, right?
So I'm going to put this in what I know best. Okay. So knowing what I know about computers, RAM will consume the same amount of energy if it's full or not because it's volatile storage. So if your phone is, if your DRAM voltage is 1.5 volts, regardless, so it's like, oh man, I got 9 apps running, my RAM's pulling. It doesn't work that way.
But you can't help me for thinking maybe it does.
So the problem is, and where I believe the problem lies, is when those apps in RAM are being treated as foreground apps in your CPU cycle.
Yeah.
Rather than background apps in your CPU cycle.
So it's still utilizing your system to some degree. The operating system is still considering it. It's still ready to go at the anytime a user needs it. It's like keeping it ready, and that's just the act of that alone. And it being there is just eating a little bit of battery, just a little bit, but they add up across multiple apps. But Android does put apps to sleep.
Oh, right? Yeah. They're supposed to. They're supposed to. The problem is when they don't go to sleep.
There's ways
which happens more often than not, right? Yeah. And then, to kind of add a little bit more credence to my hypothesis here is, if you've ever watched those YouTube videos when someone gets like all of the latest phones and they'll do like a battery comparison, and then you look at something like a Samsung Note 20 that has like a 5,000 or 5,500 milliamp hour battery, anyway, huge, compared to like Apple's like 3,700 milliamp hour battery. Chances are like the Samsung may beat it by like 45 minutes. Okay. But you're looking at like 1/3 more battery, and what they don't show you is having owned an S20 Ultra, a Note 20, Z Fold 2, is what they don't show you is how ridiculous the difference is with standby time.
Yeah, no, like, standby, dude. This phone, if you don't have it on, and you're just having it chill. Oh my god, it just doesn't even it doesn't even use battery. Basically,
it's because apps properly go to sleep. You know what I mean?
It's crazy, and it's still responsive. Like I can pick it up and use it immediately. I still get my notifications. But it's just chilling there, sipping away at its battery. Not really that much. You don't even notice it. It can last. If you're not using your phone, it's just gonna. And that's honestly, Apple's like that with all their products now.
Oh, everything.
Because they control the hardware stack from the ground up. So what is the Pixel gonna do? Like, is it gonna be different than every Android phone to date? Is it gonna actually be able to rival what Apple's done on their platforms, the iPhone, the iPad? Because the iPad's a god tier battery, by the way. I mean, are they going to be able to do that? I don't know. I don't know at what level they're going to optimize, if they're going to optimize or what.
So here's my opinion. I think we're going to see a sizable increase, but I don't think we'll ever get to Apple's level.
No.
But not for fault of Google. Okay. So I think the problem lies in the fact that Google will still have to realize that other manufacturers will have to still run their operating system. So there will be certain, instruction sets that will have to be a little bit more variable.
That's the downer. I think you're right, dude. I was thinking the same thing because it doesn't change the fact that they got to design Android to work with everything.
Yeah.
And even though the Pixels get everything first,
which is cool though, right? Because options are cool. You know what I mean?
Options are great.
Part of the reason. Part of the reason why sometimes I switch to an Android phone and then hate it is because they have options. You know, like if they want a phone that folds like this, they have it.
I miss my.
If they want,
just the software and the hardware, like the package. To me, that's why I stick to my iPhone. It's just a better package.
Yeah,
but I absolutely miss some of the stuff I've had on Android.
Bro, you and I had like a small discussion offline before about the Z Fold 3, and it's actually one of the topics I chose to talk about for my
for your ramblings, dude.
For my ramblings at the end about why I can't do it.
Oh my god, I'm all about that discussion because I am actually. We're about to roll into ramblings now.
Yeah.
If we're done with the Pixel, do you have any last?
I do want to touch on one more thing that I think is very interesting.
Okay.
So if you actually just, if you're at home and you just want to check it out and see what we're talking about, Google usually doesn't have their keynote and their product launches until October. However, Google being Google and trying different things all the time, they actually put up their full product page for the Pixel 6 already. So their storefront is already up for the Pixel 6. You can see everything you want to see on it. You can see the sizes, the colors. It tells you all about the processor. It's all up there, like it's ready to go, but you just can't buy it until October.
Yeah, so, there it is. Meet Google Tensor.
Yeah, so it's like, how crazy is that, right? Like, there's no big announcement. They're just like, here it is. Get ready in 3 months.
I kind of like that, actually.
Yeah,
it's refreshing, dude.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting design, too. I actually don't hate it. It's kind of goofy.
I hated it in leaks. I absolutely hated it in leaks. But now that I see actual photos that aren't snapped in, I think it looks nice,
it's
dude.
Cool. I actually like
click on the black one. Click on the black one with the black dot. I think you can click on, the black Pixel 6 Pro.
Hold on. Well, I don't think I can click on anything.
No, let me see, those dots there. Can you click on those dots?
Oh, there's dots. Hold on. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want the
black one. The black one looks nice.
Didn't they say? Okay, yeah. Okay, that is slick. That is slick. It looks good.
It looks real clean.
I like how they go with the colors. Always gotta go.
It looks really clean.
Look at this two-tone one.
So, I'm a big fan of that, kind of off. Those varying shades of gray.
Look at that, dude. Yeah, I'm just now noticing it.
That looks so clean.
Light, but
no, it looks so good, doesn't it, dude?
Dude, I'm a sucker.
It's got that aesthetic that I'm into. Yeah,
dude, it's like the Z Fold 2 when it had the what they call it, Mystic Bronze, but it was more like a rose gold.
I'm so jealous you have
dude.
Mystic
That's
Bronze.
so sexy, dude.
Yeah,
I miss that thing, dude. I shouldn't have gave it up, but oh well. But anyway. Yeah, dude, it looks nice. It does look nice. And just seeing it has me tempted a little bit. Not gonna lie. Yeah, it's I look forward to seeing it come out. I'm not gonna get it personally, but I want to see. I'm gonna be keeping an ear to the ground on it. I want to know if it's good.
I might get it.
Oh shit, dude, you would.
I might not.
You might. All right, dude. So we're gonna move on to. Let's move on, dude.
Okay.
Unless you get that last minute thing to plug, what do you want to?
No, I was just gonna say that if I did get it, it would definitely be alongside an iPhone. It would be.
Yeah, you would keep your iPhone.
It would be a SIM swap scenario.
Yeah, 100%. So what we're gonna do, I figured right now is our kind of just talk about whatever we want segment for a little bit. You did mention that you wanted to bring up the Fold 3, so we're already talking about it.
Yeah.
Fold 3.
Yeah.
So is there actually anything out with the Fold 3 now?
There's some leaks out. There's some leaked images. It's all but confirmed that it will get S Pen support. So I'm really interested.
There's
I'm
no
really
way.
interested. Really? Yeah. There's actually a. I think it passed through filings already, but there's a S Pen Fold edition.
Oh my god.
That's designed to work on the foldable screens.
Let me tell you something, dude. So, you and I both ran Z Fold 2s, right?
Yeah.
And I love mine.
Phone.
Okay. It was a great,
phone.
honestly, God tier phone. I did a review on YouTube, on my FitDread YouTube channel. Check it out.
It's actually pretty good. Check it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I got some surprising feedback from it. In the comments, people actually really liked it. And I was just kind of doing a casual thing. Like I wanted to talk about it because, and at the time during the review, I said, this is the best phone for me right now, bar none. And it's still funny because I said that watching my review now, and I'm like, damn, dude, I traded it in for an iPhone. You know what I mean? Which is hilarious. And
I did the same.
Yeah. So, what's the nutty thing is I had the Z Fold 2. I was using it. I loved it. But I had an itch to go back. I was like, I miss the iPhone, and I went.
Because the grass is greener.
The grass is greener. I missed the Apple Watch. I love my Apple Watch. I missed everything. My Samsung watch sucked.
I told you that. I told you it was bad.
It's the closest to the Apple Watch you can get.
It is.
But it's nowhere close. It is not even close. it mimics Samsung, dude. Let me just tell you, they mimic so hard.
Oh
Apple.
yeah.
It's
Which is the best form of flattery, right?
It's the best form of flattery, but they don't do it as well. For example, even HomeKit, dude. So they have Samsung Smart Things, and it looks almost exactly like HomeKit. I can't really.
This is going to sound really weird, but whenever I use Samsung products or Samsung apps, I feel like I bought like the Wish.com version of an Apple product, right?
That's
like I feel like I'm on like Pear. You know?
Dude, it's sad like how they don't even try to hide it. Like everything actually. And honestly, Samsung's not the only one guilty because the Smart Things app looks like HomeKit. The LG do the LG Thin Q app. Guess what? Looks exactly like freaking HomeKit. I have that too.
Does it really?
Same little boxes, same situation. You can see my LG phone there. I have an LG washing machine. You can see I have 14 minutes left on it on my wash cycle. It's pretty cool, but it looks like HomeKit. It's just everyone's just unashamed. They make it look exactly like HomeKit. So I just think that's hilarious. But that's hilarious. The thing about the Fold. But let's talk about the Fold screen. So do you think they'd improve that screen, the folding screen?
Absolutely.
Because did you see some of what was happening to people's screens in the Fold in the crease? And it happened to my own too. So
wait, what did something happen in your crease?
Yeah, it did. So I was starting to develop a crack.
Really?
Yeah, it was. It was a crack, and I could run my fingernail over it and feel it.
Shoot.
But
Really?
There's people on Reddit that have posted, check this out, and it's like my crack, but it actually realized like itself and like became big. You know what I mean? Like
I've never seen your crack.
No, well, you didn't want to see it, and you can't because I traded it in, and I made sure that the Apple people that I was giving it to didn't see it either.
Never show your crack in the
with yeah, dude. With the screen on, you couldn't see the crack, so it was like, hey, check this out, it's perfect. And then like if you turned it off, you could see it.
Sure.
Even Amanda saw it. She was running her thumb, and she's like, ew. And I'm like, I don't know where that is. But see, the thing is, Samsung offered a free screen replacement. So had it gotten worse, I was going to give it to Samsung, even though that sucks.
I still got to like just interject. Good on them. Like clearly you're buying a targeted market luxury device because no one's spending $2,000 on a phone unless you're passionate about it.
Unless you're us and we're dumb.
Yeah.
But like we knew we were being dumb. Like
right.
Like
right.
We were
100%. Yeah.
This is stupid. I don't want to even support this. I'm buying it.
Bro,
because this is like the only thing that does it.
I bought the Note 20, and then 2 weeks later, you talked me into buying the Z Fold.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're dumb.
Yeah, that was my bad, dude. It was so easy for me. It was so easy. The Fold is such an awesome phone to sell.
It was a great dumb decision. Oh, it really is. It really is.
I'm like a salesman. I was like, yo, dude, but can your phone do this?
I have friends who are just diehard Apple iPhone users, and they're not even necessarily Apple fans. They just like the iPhone.
100%.
And they would never buy anything but an iPhone.
Yeah.
And the Fold was like, I would buy that.
Yeah. No, it's super impressive. Yeah. Like if you haven't seen one in person, it is honestly, and I was super skeptical. Like I know if you had the, before that you had the Z Flip, right?
I love the Z Flip.
And you were telling me like, yo, dude, this is not bad. Like the Fold, because like, everyone's thinking these folding screens, like they're plasticky. No, dude, these are nice. Like they're actually
I will tell you that I treated my Z Flip like you should treat no phone. Like
Abuse.
you can just stick your thumb in there and really just flick your wrist, fling it open to where it's like a whack when it flies open.
Oh yeah.
And that thing
I've seen videos of people like throwing them and stuff. And it was like,
I think Stassi Labs did one where like he tossed it off his desk and then kicked it around in sand. Like anyone who says, "Oh, it's not durable," read clickbait articles online and never actually used one.
No,
because
it's
durability was never a complaint with mine.
I think
after we talked about how yours broke. So
well, I had my back glass crack, but any phone can do that, right?
Yeah.
And then my screen, like that was the problem. That was probably my problem. I blamed Samsung a little bit because I thought the design was dumb the way they did it. But as somebody in my review came back and was like, it's probably they did it like because they kind of like curved the glass over one of the sides. They probably did it for antenna reasons.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was dumb because I was like, it just makes that part that kind of curves over to the
You're
side
talking
of
about the
phone.
back glass at this point,
that's
right?
what that's what broke on mine. So it broke right there where that curve was, that curved from the back to the side of the phone. And I was like, it doesn't
look nice.
It was cool looking, but it was also like, why did they even bother?
Yeah.
And then I broke my phone there, and I was like, I blame you, Samsung. But I'm sure it was because of the antenna. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but it was a freaking awesome phone. Durability is not a problem. The glass, I think some people did have issues with the folding part, right? I didn't have any scratches on the inside other than my little crack.
I didn't either.
It was pristine. And I convinced you to take off your screen protector.
You did.
And because it felt like amazing without it. And if it folds shut, you don't need it. So it was like, honestly, the Z Fold 2, it was like such a freaking sick device. I miss it.
Yeah, so like taking off the screen protector, for those who haven't held a Z Fold or actually used one, but you've used a normal phone, the screen protector that comes pre-installed on like the Z Fold, right? Like it has like this like rubbery texture, right? Like your finger almost wants to grab to it. And then as soon as you take it off, it feels honestly like a normal screen again.
Yeah, 100%.
So
like you would think like, because when I think about a plastic screen, I think like of the old phones that we used to have, like way back when plastic screens were dominant, and they felt like kind of like you were literally rubbing a plastic screen. But we have things now. We have screen coatings. We have whatever.
Yeah, for those of you who think that it's like one of those like older, not laminated displays, it's not like that at all. It's actually it's even more so in the opposite direction, because the screen is literally like
what you're touching.
Yeah. You're basically touching the screen
practically, and it's just unreal. Like it was honestly the screen was better than my iPhone. I'd say 100%.
I would say so too.
It was brighter. It was actually way brighter. Like the iPhone's screen is not nearly.
Yeah, dude, it's funny you mentioned that, because like on Saturdays I've been like just like getting my grill on a little bit and like trying to like view in my 12 Pro Max out in the sun. Like I was like, sometimes I basically had to move into the shade to see it. And it just seems weird to me, because I don't remember ever having to do that with my Note 20 or my Z Fold.
So the Fold 3, right? Like, what's holding you back? Because obviously we're tied into the Apple ecosystem, right? Like
this guy is holding me back.
So you have so you know what's funny? You pull up the iPad. Is it because you like the combo? You like the iPhone combo? You like the iPad? You'd rather a tablet be a tablet and a phone be a phone, or is it something else?
No. So if Apple came out with a Fold, like a folding phone, like the iFold, I would be all about it. The problem is that I love my iPad. The iPad is my companion at work. It's my companion at home. If I'm at work, if I'm in a meeting, I'm taking notes on my iPad with the Apple Pencil. If I'm at home, I'm reading the internet, I'm sitting on my couch with a drink and I'm reading it on my iPad, because I think it's the best way to consume web content. If I'm in bed and I'm reading a book, I'm on my iPad.
Yeah.
If I need to pull up my notes, it's already on my iPad.
Yeah.
And since I'm on my iPad so much, it's nice to be able to, get all my texts, all my phone calls, my FaceTime conversations, all on the device I'm currently using.
Right.
So it really comes down to, I don't want to lessen the value of the device I use the most, which is my iPad.
So if you're an iPad guy, right? Like obviously, so if you're on the go, right? Do you take your iPad with you?
Yes, every time. It never leaves my bag. Actually, I have both cases. So I have the white keyboard, and then I also have the. I can grab it.
Yeah.
The standard one as well.
So you're actually, I'd say you're in the minority. Okay. I'd say that like most people probably don't bring their iPad with them everywhere, but it
goes with me every place I go.
Like I know for me, right? Like I love my iPad as well, but honestly, I don't use it that much, and part of it's because my son's taken it over. He loves the iPad.
Good boy.
Yeah,
like,
he does.
Literally today, I was taking notes in a meeting I was in. The Apple Pencil.
Yeah,
it's basically
Apple
my
Pencil's
life.
God tier. No, so if you're a big iPad user, but like,
Sure.
here's the thing. Like, I typically am on my phone, right? Like, I got my phone everywhere. And it's, to me, if I had to pick just the phone, right? If I had to pick just a phone, the Fold wins.
Yes.
To me.
Yes, I agree.
But there's more to the equation than the hardware you buy.
Right, because...
Okay.
So here's the thing. So if you're talking about using a phone, okay, I still would say the iPhone provides the best experience. And the reason I say that is because it just works. So, as you can tell, Eric and I are really big advocates of the Fold. But, coming back full circle to kind of what we talked about with the new Pixel phone coming out, Android currently doesn't support foldable devices natively.
No.
So
if it wasn't for Samsung and what they do, it wouldn't work.
So Samsung had to build a whole multi-touch. Wow, a whole multifaceted interface on top of that, and it really shows.
Yeah.
Like for example, like if you wanted to open up multiple apps at once, you could really tell that it's going through a layer on top of a layer. So it's kind of hard.
It was pretty good though. It was pretty good.
It was.
I use Split Screen app all the time. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't wish I could do that on the iPhone. 100%. Like I would always, there's a mobile game I play. I would always keep it like on the bottom, and then I'd do whatever, or like the other way around. I'd put my game on top, and then I'd do whatever I'm trying to do on the bottom or whatever. So I'd be able to
multi-screen is huge.
Multi-screen is massive, and I wish the iPhone could do that, but it can't. Right. So as far as, and like honestly, like you're saying, Samsung had to build that.
Yeah, and like so, like to my point before, kind of like what Eric is saying, you could really tell though that. Basically, so how on the Fold you can like make segments, and by those segments I mean like app pairs and like the slide over. Okay. That all has to be done on Samsung's layer. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like they really had to do a whole lot of work on the back end,
right,
to get that to actually work.
Yeah, 100%. But it was pretty good, right? I actually really loved my Fold for that. That was probably one of the biggest reasons that I am sad I don't have it today. But as far as like the Fold goes, like obviously you had, or do you still have your Z Fold 2?
I don't have my Z Fold anymore.
Okay, so you don't have it. I don't have mine. I traded it in for the iPhone. But we're still in the discussion, like maybe Z Fold 3?
No, not for me at least.
Okay.
And it's because thanks or not thanks to Apple, when I buy a phone, when I buy my iPhone, I have to think of what other things I have that go with it. Yeah. Right? So if I switch to the Z Fold, I lose my Apple Watch. I lose my iPad. I lose I lose the ability to text from my MacBook. I lose the ability to text from my iPad. And one thing that I use a lot, I know you're a little bit different on that, but I keep a lot of my files in iCloud Drive just because my preferred editing device is my MacBook Pro, because honestly it's just fast.
It's seamless.
So like if I photo edit on my MacBook, I like that they're immediately on my phone through iCloud. And there are people who are going to say, oh, well, you could just download Google Drive and sync it that way. It's not the same. It just isn't. Like the user experience is not the same. Right. And while that solves one of my problems, it doesn't solve all of my problems. Right. And
although I will say there's probably solutions to a lot of those, but whether or not they work as well as what iCloud provides on the Apple ecosystem, and like if you could get those solutions on an Android ecosystem, it's probably just not as seamless as what you have in the Apple ecosystem. So it's really no surprise why you'd want to stay, why people stay there once they're in, because they get so comfortable with this way of doing things, this workflow, this process, and then to have to switch platforms is very jarring. And like we've both jumped back and forth.
Constantly.
Like, I know I'm personally at a point where there's not as much tying me to the Apple ecosystem, but I'm still kind of tied there.
It's a lot of it is consistency, right? Like, and it's really hard to write down on paper and put into words. Yeah. But if you've used an Android phone for any set period of time and you've owned a Android phone, or did I say Android phone first? Anyway, if you've owned an iPhone for a set period of time and you've owned an Android phone for a set period of time, there's a level of consistency and reliability that exists on the iPhone that does not exist currently on any Android phone.
Yeah, and just for any listeners, like, we aren't like biased. We definitely would come off as like fanboys, maybe even to Apple. But like, we've used all of it, guys. We've owned all of these platforms: Windows, Android, iOS. Like, we are not like, we've been on Linux. We've been everywhere. And
for context, I'll just go over my what's in my pocket.
Here's
2020.
my portfolio.
Yeah. So January was iPhone 11 Pro Max.
Yeah.
February was Galaxy Z Flip.
Yeah.
July was iPhone SE2. August was Note 20 Ultra. August was Z Fold 2.
Dude, this is getting embarrassing. Stop. No, just kidding.
And then end of November was iPhone 12 Pro Max.
Yeah. Insane.
So that's 1 year.
Guys, this is the worst it's ever been for him. I promise.
Yeah, it was a bad year.
Really
this was a bad year.
Bad year.
Yeah.
Dude, we kind of made it's funny because when we bought the Z Fold 2, we were like, this is it, dude. This is it. Yeah.
This is it. Couple years,
dude. We'll get 2 years out of this, dude. It'll be worth it, dude. 2000, whatever. We'll just keep it longer, dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
No, dude, it didn't pan out, did it?
Yeah, no, not at all.
We should have saw that coming, but like, that's the context, right? Like, we've operated on all the platforms, and when he talks about the consistencies in iOS and the platform, there's definitely it definitely has some quirks, just like anything does. But I would say that it's just, out of all the platforms, it is very consistent. So we appreciate that. As somebody that, as people that do tech in our careers, we appreciate when something just works. Yeah. You have no idea how much of it is a relief to not have to do work at home sometimes.
And that's kind of why I've been driven to my Xbox. The same exact reason, because when I pick up my iPhone, I consistently know I can just get right into an app. And when I was younger, going back to kind of what we touched on the Nexus, like, tweaking is awesome, right? But like now I kind of just want to get in, do what I need to do, and then get out.
Yeah, and even me, like, I'm somebody that I think I'm in some aspects more of a tinkerer than you are, because I'm willing to like have my own server running and all these custom apps that I deploy for my friends and stuff. That's something a lot of people don't really want to do, but that's kind of the extent of it for me. Like, because I got some real gains from that are big benefits of operating my own stuff. But like, having an Android phone versus an iPhone, like, the seamless experience you can get, and honestly, when it comes to the Mac and the MacBook Pro, you're not only getting like a great software, you're getting like cutting edge hardware. Bleeding edge, like, anybody that contests that the M1 isn't, like, at the current state of things, God tier, as far as hardware goes. You don't know what you're talking about, in my opinion, because it is honestly kind of magical. Nobody expected it to be as good as it was.
No. So the M1 is just completely revolutionary. And like I said before, like, I feel like that there'll be a time, moving forward, where we look back on that and realize, the revolution that Apple has ushered in.
I think so, dude. This is honestly a point in history. It's a point in history. I'd go as far as to say that it's definitely a big turning point for Apple. I don't know what their stock price is going to do. I don't know any of that shit. But I think that what they're doing, I don't think it's going to be rivaled anytime soon by other manufacturers. I think it's going to take a lot of catch-up time. But that's just me speculating. I don't know.
Pure speculation.
Not
a financial advisor.
Not a financial advisor whatsoever. But yeah, so we're pretty much done with this segment, man. Do you want any last talking points or anything? I was going to talk about my smart home stuff, but we kind of went on time a little bit. We're already at almost an hour and a half. So our last segment, let's roll into it. It's going to be, what are you playing? What games have you been playing lately? And,
sure. So I'll go first on this one because I feel like yours is going to be a little bit more exciting than mine.
Okay, sure.
I've just been playing The Ascent on Xbox. It's on Xbox Game Pass for both PC and Xbox.
Okay.
And it's a twin stick action RPG. So think of like a modern day Smash TV with action RPG elements. So there's like a gearing system and you level up. But what really makes this game stand out to me is the environment, because it takes place in a dystopian cyberpunk future.
Okay.
And in my opinion, it's kind of a little bit more fun than cyberpunk.
Okay, wait a minute. So I'm pulling up the website right now because I haven't actually. I don't think I've seen much about it.
It's co-op, both local and online.
So on Game Pass, apparently.
So I know it's kind of been a long time coming since we've got a decent couch co-op game. But for those of you out there who like reminisce those days when we had like Baldur's Gate, Champions of Norath on the PS2 and stuff, this game is definitely worth checking out and picking up.
Okay, so we're on Steam
I'm having
too.
a good time with
it.
Yep.
I'm born 1st January 1990. View page. All right, so I'm checking it out on Steam. The Ascent. Here we go. Let's check it out. Mostly positive. We got some good stuff. No, I don't want to hear that. Okay. It's 10% right now, $26. And so it's a shooter, right? Wait a minute. It's top-down.
It's a top-down twin stick, so it's very similar to like old Smash TV.
Okay. I mean, the graphics look nice.
Graphics are insane. Environmentally, it really sets the mood. They killed it with city design. Level design is absolutely fantastic. Some of the downsides for me is the weapon system and the armor system, so the itemization is a little lacking, but it doesn't take away at all from the fantastic environment and the fun gameplay.
So you said it's co-op, right?
It's co-op, and on Xbox Series consoles, it is also couch co-op. There's a dedicated couch co-op mode.
Okay.
So
it is. So it's like 2-player co-op then.
Yep.
Okay. Oh wow! I mean, this looks nice.
Yeah.
RPG-ish, or
total action RPG. So think of like I said, think of like Diablo meets Smash TV. Right?
So there's gear then.
Yeah.
And
so like
there are gear drops, or do you have to get currency, or is it like a?
So gear does drop. Excuse me. In my mind, itemization is the weak point.
Okay.
So basically, armor is a free for all, which is fine. But how weapons will work in this game is there's probably, I want to say, 9 or 10 different weapon types.
Yeah.
And those are the only weapons that will drop, right? Okay. So if you get like 2 of the rifles, which is called the Dread, right? So if you get 2 dreads, your only real value is to sell one of them because they're going to be the exact same. But nice. but then you also find components to upgrade your weapons. So every dread you find in the beginning of the game will be Dread Mark 1, Mark 1, Mark 1.
Okay,
But then if you upgrade it to Mark 3, for example, say, then every dread from here on out you find will be Mark 3.
Okay.
But there's no actual variance in terms of like, oh, I picked up a really good dread. You know what I mean? There's there's nothing like that.
Gotcha, dude. I mean, it looks good. I mean, the price is right. It's not too much or anything. It's kind of
it's also included on Game Pass Ultimate on both Xbox and PC. So if anyone out there is a Game Pass subscriber, it's a day one Game Pass.
That's an easy game, dude. Yeah. Easy game, easy life, right there. And if you're a Steam gamer and you want to play it on your Steam Deck,
it's 10% off, right?
10% off. Here we go. You know what I'm saying? I wish games like this were on GOG, dude. Like, give me that deal free, dude.
Yeah.
I'm always checking GOG because you never know. It's just one of those things. But yeah, man, I guess I could roll into what I was playing, dude. Yeah. Like, I was playing some of that Halo Infinite, dude.
Oh man, I'm so jealous.
So you know, it's crazy because I know we're both signed up, right, to the flights.
Yeah, we are. I'm signed up for the flight on both console and PC. Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, Eric and I are like the biggest Halo fans.
Dude,
we grew up playing Halo.
Big Halo.
I just love the franchise.
We grew up with it. I know. I was playing when I was young. I got Xbox late in the game, like the OG Xbox, not the Xbox One, but the Xbox. You know what I'm saying?
Like the Rock introduced Xbox,
like the one that had the Duke controller, but I didn't have the Duke. So I got an Xbox late, and I got Halo 1 and 2 the same Christmas. It was awesome.
How old were you? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember. But it was like Halo 2 had just came out, and so the hype was there. I was excited to get my feet wet, and we got the Halo Edition Xbox. It was the Green Boy. It was awesome.
Oh, do you still have that, man?
I
That's
don't.
probably worth a pretty penny.
Yeah, I ended up. I think my cousin might have it. I'd have to ask him if he still does, because I kind of want it back. I want it back, dude. But yeah, when I left for the Navy back when I was doing that, I ended up just saying like, "Here you go, buddy. Have fun."
What a guy.
Yeah, so I ended up, he wanted to play some Xbox. I was like, here, bro. But, yeah, so, I've been playing since Halo 2. I played some, I remember playing, I was in the Halo 3 beta. I remember playing the Halo 3 beta.
I was in the Halo 3 beta, too. Yeah. I was in the Halo 5 beta.
Nice. So we both were in the signed up for the program, didn't get invites, but my brother did. So what I ended up doing, I went to his house.
Lucky boy.
Yeah, and he was like, dude, come over, dude, check it out. I was like, okay, man, I'll come over.
Just for context, yeah. Eric and I are hours away, unfortunately.
We are, unfortunately. That's why.
Otherwise, I would have been there too. I'd be like, Chad, you're not my brother, but I'm coming over.
Yeah, so. No, he would have been welcome to share it. He is also, that was the thing. Me and him, we opened this, we've been playing Halo since we got that Xbox on our Christmas morning. You know what I'm saying? Like, we loved Halo 1. We played through the campaign, then rolled straight into Halo 2. Loved the shit out of that. Been playing ever since, dude. So
did you and your brother go through like the campaigns like
together?
Couch co-op style?
Yeah, we did. Dude.
Oh, dude, what memories!
Dude,
what
memories,
such good memories.
Every Halo game we do that. So I know that next Halo game we're probably gonna do it as well. So probably go through it, do the campaign. You know what I'm saying, bros?
That's so nice. That's so nice.
Yeah, because we love Halo. Actually, it's funny because like back then, when we were playing Xbox Live for like Halo 2. I was the better player, but now he's the better player. Like he got to Halo 3. Like I joined the Navy. He basically ascended, in the later years of high school and became like this like gaming god. Was like doing clan shit for Halo 3, and then like we finally like 1v1 on like Blackout or whatever.
Yeah.
And he just fucking slays me, and I'm like, no.
Halo
I was like,
God,
you've grown up.
Halo
yeah, so he ascended me. He's been kind of better than me ever since, but it's such a great time. Like we do duos together on Halo. We've been doing that. So I went to his house, back to Infinite.
Yeah. Let's get back to Infinite.
So I immediately, I tinkered with the settings. So the first thing I did was go to the settings thing, as a PC gamer does.
Now, did he get an invite on PC or Xbox?
We were playing it on PC. So
okay,
and it's crazy because we didn't get an invite. He did. I was like, okay, sad.
I just want some context so people know, what settings you're talking about.
Well, on PC, because I for the flight, I was like. I play PC. I don't want the console one. So maybe he had both. Maybe he just
I have both. I have both.
I just had one. I just had the PC. I was like, I just want PC. I didn't get it. He did. But yeah, we're playing on PC. And like he speculated. He was like, well, maybe it's because my PC's worse.
Dude, it's funny you mentioned that because that's kind of what I told you.
Yeah.
So like, again, could be sheer coincidence, but like the betas that I've gotten an invite to are ones where like I saw like beta invites went out and I signed up at work.
Right.
So like I would be on like my work Surface Book with like a mobile 965M.
I think what it is they want to get a variety.
Like, right. So then like so like when I sign up on my home computer, they're like, well, it's gonna run on that. We know, you know. So I feel like I don't get invites hardware.
We want to go back and see if it's gonna run on last gen. So like that's the thing. Like I'm running a 5950X with a freaking 3080. So like they know it's gonna work. They want to test it on something else. My brother's got a 1080, and he's running like a couple gens back AMD, I think. So. They were like, oh, well, this modest system. They probably gave him the invite. That's just speculation. But, I went over there and I was like, went to the settings, and I was pleasantly surprised.
For context, do you know, like, in relation to when the signups went out to like when he signed up?
I don't know when he signed. Actually, I think he's been signed up for a while. Like because we get invites to the Master Chief Collection flights. Or the tests, the betas, or whatever they're doing, and like I've gotten those. He said he never participated in them. I was like, me neither. So we've been signed up for a minute, and so I don't know much about like how he got it, how I got it, whatever. But it's been like that. So But just so you know, like I've been pleasantly surprised with the settings. Like
That's excellent.
I went on there. I was like, this is maybe the best PC settings I've seen. And this is crazy to me because Halo's a console game, kind of. And to see it so well supported on the PC, it just kind of blew me away.
Well, you know what's awesome is to kind of bring that into perspective.
Yeah.
I watched an interview recently of Phil Spencer from the head of Xbox. And for those of you who haven't watched an interview of Phil Spencer or watch him talk, he will definitely turn you into an Xbox fan. And it's by no virtue of shilling. It's just by sheer and brutal honesty. You know? So
they're super honest.
So in this particular interview, he was asked the hard question of how is Game Pass profitable? Like, how on earth do you make money? How do developers make money? And he went into that for a little bit, but this isn't really pertinent to this current conversation. But the part that is he said, listen, man, for Xbox, we just want to make gamers. So if you're a gamer, you're an Xbox customer. So we don't care if you play on Xbox, if you play on xCloud, if you play on PC. All we care about is that you're an Xbox gamer. And the more platforms we can create Xbox gamers on is what is what our metric is.
Right, 100%.
And like I kind of respect how honest that answer is.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, so the fact that he's actually, you know, coming through on that and bringing a respectable PC version and not just a port.
Yeah,
that's
not
huge.
just a port, guys. It had everything you'd want. It had field of view sliders, which was like sort of the bare minimum. Like, I hope they got this right. Like, give me the field of view slider. Obviously, they had it. They had amazing like options regarding UI. So, like, typically, let me just say, in a lot of these games, the UI is fixed. It's stuck sitting at the corners of your screen. Typically, like, think about a console game. Like, they kind of assume you're at a TV, right? So they frame the UI in that context. Couch gaming, they put stuff in the corners. Typically, it's kind of, you're not really designed for the way I'm playing a game, which is, if you don't know, I'm using, for a computer monitor, a TV. It's the LG C10 48-inch TV that I'm using as a monitor. Not really something that you would typically do. So I'm much closer than you typically are with this sort of display. Let's just say this is an unusual, I'd say non-standard use case for this display.
I would say that.
I'm as far back as I can be from it, more or less. But it's basically non-standard. So to be on this display, they don't really design games for that. So a lot of times, games that are designed for TV gaming,
I see where you're going with
everything's in the corners, and so I have to like turn my head to see what's going on. In games that have customizable UIs, typically what I'll do, this isn't actually, let's talk about a more common scenario: ultra wides. The best ultra wide support you can get is when they basically crop the UI to be in a 16:9
they bring
ratio.
the HUD in.
They bring the HUD in, and then the edges of the screen are peripheral vision, right? So they bring the HUD in. That way you can see everything as if you're on 16:9, but now you have extra field of view. The worst ultra wide scenario, well, one of the would be to push the UI to the corners where you can't really see it. It's in your peripheral vision now.
Right.
That's the worst case scenario. This display that I'm running now is sort of the absolute worst, because games that, normally it's like, oh, you got an ultra wide, we'll crop it for you. They see this as a 16:9 display, and they're gonna put the UI.
Push it out to the edges.
They're gonna push it out. This is like, nobody compensates for this sort of scenario. I think Microsoft is doing that. I saw in Halo Infinite all kinds of UI scaling stuff. So that's literally awesome. I can shrink the UI if I didn't get to test it on my rig, but I saw settings in there to be able to manipulate my HUD. And that means that I could theoretically center it to where it's sort of like a 16:9, 27-inch, 31-inch display HUD, and then everything else is extra. And then I crank my field of view, and now it's basically like this display I'm sitting in front of. I could have what I care about in the center, Everything else is extra. That's something I've never seen in a game before, really. To me, that's super forward thinking, and I respect Microsoft for doing that, because that, like, I've never ever seen that. And in addition, they have all kinds of options that you'd care about. The accessibility options, you can change team colors, you can do all that stuff. That's really sick. They're really inclusive like that. They want people to play their game, and obviously they're making it free to play, so they want everybody to play their game.
Right.
But yeah, I was just shocked at the settings. I thought it was super impressive for what you have, because like you see so many console ports that don't have any sort of settings whatsoever, like bare minimum. But Microsoft are like, no, dude, guess what? We make Windows, dude. We're gonna fucking we're gonna support PC better than a lot of people do, and I think that's just unbelievable. That's honestly really refreshing to hear. You know, as someone who wants nothing more than Infinite to succeed, especially coming off of Halo 5, right? Like Halo 5, you know, we've had this discussion offline where I said, to me, it kind of feels like a Call of Duty with the space skin. Yeah.
It's really refreshing to see the direction that they're taking Halo Infinite. It's like feedback doesn't fall on deaf ears with them, and that goes a long way with me. Just
to wrap it up, Halo Infinite, I really did think Halo Infinite played really well. Like, so when I got into the game, for the first time, right away, I just felt like everything was locked in, really good. Like, I'm playing
on my gunplay.
The gunplay just felt so solid. Like, I just felt like all the guns felt like they were right. Now, granted, I'm a little bit of a fanboy for Halo, so
same.
But I'm not afraid to criticize it. Like, I had criticisms of 5, I had criticisms of 4. I even had criticisms of 3, which everyone kind of loves, right? The abilities are better, though. I like the grapple hook so much.
Now, explain the grapple hook to me. Does everyone just have it? Is it something you have to pick up off the ground?
You have to pick it up. So as of right now, you have to run, you have to grab it. So it's a limited drop, too, so only one guy gets it. And
how many times can you use it if you have it?
When I used it 3 times, and I couldn't use it again. So... I didn't know, and there's different ways to use it. I don't know all of them. I was just Spider-Manning it. Felt really good. Has a limited range though, so you have to be like relatively close to what you're trying to grapple to. But you can kind of sling yourself up. It was really seamless and fun.
Can you jump and grapple?
Yes.
Or do you have to wait till you land?
No, you can jump, grapple. That's what I did. I cleared an awesome gap. It felt amazing. You can also grab power weapons and stuff with it. I've seen people do that. That's really cool. I love the idea of that. Just a little bit of variety, a little bit of flair. I kind of wish grapple hook was more available. It's so fun. I'm sure that there will be game modes where you can actually just use it, but like in playlist, it's probably one of those things you got to pick up and use. But it felt really good. The guns, by the way, I don't know what the new gun is called. That's like the DMR, but it's like the semi-automatic rifle. Okay. And it's like thump, 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 thump. Oh my God. That thing feels so good. I thought the BR was like my favorite kind of weapon. DMR was good, but I always liked the battle rifle because I got that Halo 1, 2, or the 2 and 3 days.
I got the
battle rifle still feels great.
Dude.
Like
the burn nostalgia.
Dude. And the battle rifle's still great. It's just this new semi-automatic, I forget what it's called. It's gonna melt people, dude. It's unreal.
That's awesome.
The pistol, I really enjoyed the pistol in this one. I thought Halo 5's pistol was good. I feel like this one might be better. It's been a minute since I played Halo 5, so I can't really tell you. But I did like the pistol. In fact, when you start the matches, they give you the assault rifle and then the pistol. And a lot of times I just switch to the pistol. Dude, the assault rifle, mid to close range, you could dump into somebody and get them. But like mid to long, you're typically using the pistol. Like it's just lethal.
I kind of just want to talk about Halo on a podcast.
Yeah, dude. Halo cast. But yeah, dude. So really, in summary, dude, I'm not gonna ramble on about it. I thought it was solid. I think it's really. I'm really looking forward to it.
That's exciting to hear.
It's gonna be beefy.
One question I have to ask.
Sure.
Because it's been all over the subreddit.
Yeah.
How insane are the bots?
So the bots are a mixed bag.
Okay.
You know, I didn't get to play. I don't know which difficulty because they rolled out a couple different difficulties.
Okay.
And when I played it, I don't think I was on the hardest bots yet.
Okay.
I think they came out. So they did say a lot of people were criticizing the bots for having amazing grenades.
Yeah.
But they've also done some derpy stuff. I've seen them do some derpy stuff too.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
But you know, in total, I'm really glad to have bots.
Right.
You know, back in the day, you know, when I was playing Unreal Tournament, you know what I'm saying? Bot matches were my jam. I throw up bot matches and I just get some frags, dude. Like I just like flat cannon and I get up in people's faces. Like being able to just fire up, like especially when I was
a kid,
fun. It was good. Yeah. So bots now, like especially in the casual game modes, Nest Protect is offline.
How'd you know what that was?
Because I have one.
Oh, like yeah.
So I have 2 of them, but they're not mounted or anything. They're just chilling. Anyway, but yeah, bot matches, they're going to be juicy. You know, in casual game modes, it's going to be amazing to have them. I don't know if
I agree.
in matchmaking or what. You know how like if people drop out of a game, like your team's fucked.
Yeah.
Imagine if they just filled in with the bot. You know what I mean? Like I think that would be probably more fun for the casual modes.
No, I
obviously
agree
ranked isn't going to do that.
Yep.
Social playlists, let's just fill it in with bots, dude. You know, whatever. Just like on the occasion somebody drops, give them a bot. I don't know. Maybe it'll make it more balanced and fun and. Your games will actually, instead of just being completely ruined, you'll be able to play through. A little disappointed somebody left, but maybe still have a good time.
Yep, I agree.
So I think that's the way to go. I'm glad that bots are there. Ultimately, I just want to be playing against players. But you know, for somebody that's like, you know, it is good to have the option, especially when a lot of days nowadays, I'm kind of a casual more. Often than not, you know, I'm getting old. I'm in my 30s.
I'm not a pro gamer.
I'm not a pro gamer anymore, dude. Like my pro gamerness is behind me. I'm a parent now. I got like a job. And I don't got time to like, you know, grind out like my Halo rep and stuff and like get rank, you know what I mean? Like I just can't do it. So like on the weekends when I'm playing with the boys, we want to have some social playlists, you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Typically we're not playing ranked because like if especially a guy like me hop on ranked, get pissed off because I'm just getting my ass kicked. I don't got the hours to put in to get good.
Yeah.
So like I'm just trying to shoot the rockets, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get in the Warthog and fucking unload, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm sure Infinite's going to be amazing for that. But when I did play, though, I'm glad that they don't have the jetpack shit that Halo 5 did.
Oh, yeah, the jetpacks were terrible.
I didn't like the whole, like... I liked mobility stuff, but I don't know. It just didn't jive well with me.
Yeah, I concur.
And that was another criticism my brother had was when you can hold the jump button and kind of hover. He thought that was lame. He didn't like it.
Yep.
None of that's really there anymore. It's all like
awesome.
Run and gun. In fact, there's a lot of incentive to not run now, because if you're running, like they changed the way the radar worked, which shocked me when I first learned about it.
Really?
Like since every Halo, it's been like almost the same. But like in this one, if you're running, then you show up on radar. If you're just holding the stick forward, you don't.
Oh,
you don't. You do not show up on radar. So, which is weird because you used to have to crouch every Halo game. You'd have to crouch.
Right.
You could move, but it was slow, and so you do it sometimes, but not often if you're running and gunning. But now it's like, okay, I could run, show up on everyone's radar. Or I could just kind of or not sprint, right? There's sprinting and running. So if you're running normal, you're not showing up on radar now. And so you're sprinting, you get a little bit of speed, but like now you're showing up. It's like there's a trade-off now that you didn't have
That's a very
before.
interesting dynamic, yeah.
Well, that's why people are saying it kind of slows the game down because a lot of people aren't incentivized to run and sprint as much. Yeah. And I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting.
It's Halo Infinite is a different Halo, but I don't think it's a problem.
Okay.
I think it feels really good. Like I was saying, it was locked in. You can still run and do slides, and the grapple gives you mobility when you get it.
Sure,
and you have other things like active camo, but I feel like this stuff is all Halo. You know, it just kind of feels like to me a little bit of a merge between like what's Halo 4 and 5 has done with the movement, but then a little bit of backtracking to something like the older Halos had. So to me, it's kind of a hybrid.
Sounds like it's a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a hybrid that I think we want in 2021 with our
it kind of brings up the movement of like what you would expect from a modern shooter, but it sounds like it also like remembers the Halo roots.
It's so fast enough. Like it's not as Halo. Slow. Like as much as I love classic Halo, modern gamers are going to go back and think it's too slow.
Right.
People are used to Call of Duty and fast run and gun, and this is kind of like a nice hybrid. I think it's going to please a lot of people. I think this is going to be like that sweet spot. To me, it was the sweet spot. Like I was having a lot of fun playing Halo Infinite. And I want it to come out right now.
I don't blame you, man. I do too.
I want it to come out right now because I'm like riding the high from just playing the little bit of the test flight.
Right.
I didn't get to play against other players, just the bots. There was definitely glitches. The guns, there's a gun that shoots like a big ass spike.
I saw that, dude. Everyone says it's like the most satisfying thing.
It's so sick, dude. It's like, and the gun sounds are like the best they've ever been in a Halo. Awesome. I'd say that definitely the gun sounds are so satisfying. It's like so like quality. You can just feel the guns. Like they don't feel weak. They feel meaty. They feel like they have substance. Even when you're hitting people with them, you're like, this gun's fun. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a great game, dude. I'm not gonna ramble on anymore about it. We're actually out of time. Yeah, I mean, this has been episode 1. What do you think, dude? Like, I mean, was that pretty good? Do you feel good?
I feel good. I feel like it's probably a little bit longer than we expected.
It is, but that's how we go, dude. We both love to talk.
We do.
Maybe I'll trim it up at post, whatever. But yeah. Thanks for coming. If you've obviously you're a first time watcher and listener, you can see us online. We're gonna have our podcast published on YouTube on the Technaesthetic Podcast YouTube channel. If you want to know where we're at, you can check us out on technaesthetic.com. And where we'll have links to all of where you can find us. So our email address is on there. If you want us to discuss certain topics, check out our email addresses on technaesthetic.com. You can send us suggestions. We're definitely open to have discussions about anything that you want to talk about, tech related, gaming related, whatever. We want to be the ones to talk about it. So definitely hit us up and see where we're at. We're going to be on social media at some point. I don't know when, but I'm sure we will. And then also you'll be able to see our podcast, any of the major distributors. So Spotify, Apple Music, Google, you name it. We'll be there. You can check us out there.
Expect new episodes every week. This was a lot of fun. Yeah. And like that's kind of what it's all about, right? We're just people who enjoy talking about technology. And I think it's important that we have listeners and followers that feel the same.
Yeah, we're super enthusiastic, so we want to share that enthusiasm with you, and hopefully we can do that in these podcasts. We're aiming for Wednesdays, but we'll see what happens. So thanks for coming along and watching and listening, and we'll see you guys in the next one.